So this is one of them that I said I would never do this ever again. The main reason is just because how much time it takes to do a build like this. I decided to do this one again just to kind of see if there was an easier way that I could do this to make it faster so I could offer it to people. This is a very time consuming job because first I have to slap the part up on the machine out the inlet completely, and machine it so that I can fit a bigger piece of metal here. This is about 2.75 inches, I think. So I had to take a solid piece of aluminum, machine all the way through it, which mainly it took me so long because I didn't really have the right tools to be able to cut it out like I needed to. I need a little bit bigger drill bits, and some of the bits I have are a little bit too big or either too small. So I had to manually cut a lot of that out of the solid sleeve before I pressed it in there. The other problem that made it take a little bit longer than it needed to be is I had a hard time measuring the diameter of the housing here. The reason it's hard to measure is because the way the casting is, it's not perfect when you go to cut that. So I'm trying to measure a low spot and a high spot here. But I realized after I did it this time that there's kind of an easier way that I can go about measuring that seemed to work pretty well for me. This is a machine for a 51 millimeter compressor wheel. This is a custom sleeve I made. It runs all the way into the housing. I also have a press fit on this, so this part is 3 thousandths bigger than this part. If you haven't seen the original video, you can go and watch that and see what this looks like. It's a pretty cool compressor upgrade for the Jetta 1.8T. Some of them don't have this silencer on there. This one just happened to. I did this mainly because another turbo shop that I do business with asked me to do it for them. And in some cases, I'll do it for some people, but I don't want to do it for a whole lot of people just because of the time commitment involved in this. I spent to about 2 a.m. Maybe I started at like 10 or 12. I can't remember. I spent a couple hours just making the pipe. And I realized at first the pipe I machined for it originally was too small on the outside diameter, so I had to make another one. After I did that, then I had to machine the inside of the housing itself, press the pipe in, and then be able to grab it. So I have to machine it again to surface it so I can get a good surface. And then once it's surfaced on the front, I can grab it and machine the back side like I need to. It's a really cool build. I don't think anybody else out there does it, which is kind of one of the reasons I like to do it, because if there's no one else doing it, then it gives what I do a little bit more uniqueness. The main reason I stopped doing that build is because this is the exhaust housing, and this is a very challenging piece for me to be able to machine. This needs to be machined down in here to have the bore bigger for the KO4 44.4 millimeter turbine. And to be able to grab this is not so easy on a lathe, maybe even impossible to do on a lathe. And I did it on a lathe, but it was very challenging to do that. It was very hard to line it up. It took several hours, took me several hours to make the fixture to mount it. And then after I did one, doing the second one wasn't near as easy as the first because the symmetry of the housings weren't really equal. This really needs to be an end mill job, and I've been looking at picking up an end mill, but I also have to learn how to use it, so it's not going to be that easy for me to start getting up and using it. And plus I'll also have to make my own tools to be able to do that with each housing that people want machined. There's a lot of time involved in doing something like this. Here's another build that I said that I would never do again, but these really aren't that hard. And I'm actually thinking about taking on more of these because I made it a way that it's a lot more simple. This is just I think it's a 15T, a billet 15T. The compressor wheel is 41.95 millimeter by 56 millimeter. And the turbines, I just left stock. So the turbines are around 40 millimeter. This would be a great combination for the 3000 GT for around 500 horsepower. I just recently revised the CNC program, so everything's up to date on this one with the current tools that I use. If you go and start changing bits, then sometimes the dimensions will cut out a little bit deeper or shallower depending on which bit you use. Very nice machine work on this after I revised the CNC program. So that's a pretty cool turbo build for the 3000 DTs. I'm bringing these back if people want them. I'll build them. But for the other one, I don't think I really want to do that right now. I'm still trying to work on my skill on doing those quicker. To make that cover probably took me about 6 hours to do that. It's very time consuming. Before, I used to have a lot more time to be able to do builds like this, but what takes up so much of my time, which makes it so hard to get around to doing a job like this, is that because we sell a lot of turbos on the internet and got in front of a lot of people online, turbos randomly sell. And just even tonight, I've already sold 2 turbos tonight that I have to work on tomorrow that I didn't plan on doing. So sometimes it's hard to take on that commitment to do a job like this one, where I know I'm going to spend about 8 hours or more doing the job when other things are selling that I didn't plan on happening. These builds are cool, but it's not practical because of time reasons, which makes it so hard for me to be able to commit to a job like that. So that's why very often if somebody asks me to do this job, I usually tell them no. I did this job, but I did it late on a Friday till 2 a.m. and then finished it up on Saturday. Most people aren't willing to do that in business. Most people just want to work 9 to 5. I don't mind working a lot harder because I don't have anything else to do. I live in a small town and we don't have Starbucks. We only have like 3 places to eat. You can barely get internet here. The internet service is not good, and if you ever want to go have fun, you basically gotta drive an hour to get out of here.